Hi, Shruti.
Hi, it's Shukti.
Hey, it's Shreeya, and welcome back to Natter.
Yeah.
We're back.
So, guys, really quickly, let's do a catch up because we've got loads to talk about today. Go.
I'm working currently. This is my break.
I haven't started work, and I'm going to go to work after this. I'm going to have a quick lunch and then go.
And I have my last day with the kiddies, babysitting them because they're back to school tomorrow. So, and I should soon have to go back to Mumbai, like maybe next week or something. So I'm feeling a little emotional. I need to think about booking my tickets and stuff. So it's getting a bit intense in my head. Apart from the thought of getting away from home and going back to work, there's nothing really going on right now. I'm just going to spend the day with kids, maybe go play cricket in the field or something, do something fun with them. But that's about it in terms of a catch up. Now, with regards to the topic for today, this is a bit of a strange one. It's a fun one, but it's bizarro because the three of us were talking the other day about just like Disney movies and stuff, and what we've realized is that Disney has adapted a lot of their, or most of their, if not all of their stories from some kind of folklore story that has been around the world, not necessarily one country either, just anywhere. Mostly Europe, I think, actually. A lot of the stories have come from Europe. So what we were going to do was explore the origin stories of some Disney movies that we've grown up watching. Surprisingly, I'm going to give a little trigger warning, believe it or not. So anybody who might feel uncomfortable talking about or hearing about themes related to end of life, R word, bullying, or anything gruesome, then maybe just think about that before you delve into listening to us this time, because it does get a little dark in places. Some of these themes do get a little dark.
I think it might seem like it's a family-friendly topic as well, and it really isn't. And I'm kind of worried as to why we went down this little wormhole, because it's ended up a bit weird. But I think before we start, should we just have a round the table discussion as to what introduced us to Disney and what our preconceived ideas were regarding some of these stories? So I guess my first exposure to Disney was either Pinocchio or Cinderella, because our mum used to work at a big music place where they used to give her free VHSs, basically, and she used to bring them home and we used to watch them. And there was also an unofficial version of, I think it was Little Mermaid, that's it, it's Little Mermaid. And there was also an unofficial version, not a Disney version, of Cinderella as well, that I think opened our eyes to there being alternate versions of these films. And then my first cinema experience was to watch The Little Mermaid, which I still love to this day. I think it's just something that's always stayed with me, that original version. I refuse to watch the new version for various reasons, but one of them being I don't want to ruin the nostalgia I have connected to the original. How about you two?
So mine's pretty similar. I grew up watching The Little Mermaid. I don't remember the original Cinderella version, to be honest, but the original I wouldn't say it's the original Little Mermaid, but it was adapted from the original story of The Little Mermaid that we saw. I don't know if they got the rights from the original writer or anything. I'm not sure, actually. We just kind of watched it. But I think I was too young at that point to realise that, Disney's is different, theirs is different. I just thought, I didn't really think about it. You know what I mean? And then my first ever cinema experience ever was Beauty and the Beast. So, which apparently Bar says I was more interested in the popcorn than the actual movie itself, which is quite ironic since my profession now kind of involves the movies not making the popcorn. However, it is what it is. So, yeah, Beauty and the Beast was mine. Go on, Shrees, what about
You
you?
still love your popcorn like anything, though. Like, my God.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, I don't know what my first Disney movie was. I don't know what my first Disney experience at the cinema was either. Do you guys know?
Toy Story, I think.
No, Shreya wasn't there when we saw Toy Story.
When we got the little aliens? Yes, I was. That
No.
one, that was 2, though.
Yeah, that was 2.
Yeah.
We weren't there the first
So
time.
maybe it was that. I don't know, but what I do know is that I didn't actually watch a lot of the Disney movies until...
But yeah, that's Pixar. Toy Story's Pixar anyway.
Yeah, it is.
It's not
yeah.
Disney.
But yeah, I didn't watch a lot of the Disney movies until Shruti Didi's eldest kid was born.
What?
And then I watched it at your house. I watched a lot of them at your house.
How did that happen?
I don't know, but like I don't think I ever watched like Cinderella the whole way through. Even now, I don't think I've ever watched Rapunzel. I've watched Tangled. I've not watched Rapunzel. Is there one?
No. Rapunzel
Oh, there is. Okay, that's good. That makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
Okay. What have I didn't watch Bambi as well until I was a grown up.
But hang on, what's Finding Nemo? Is that Disney or is that
Pixar?
Yeah, I think so.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but I remember just not.
What about The Lion King? Did you not watch The Lion King growing up?
I did. We
Yeah.
did have The Lion King,
Mhm.
didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that was perhaps the first one that I saw then.
Also, even some of these VHSs that we had, we were still watching them when
Yeah.
you were little. So I think you
Yeah,
have
so-
seen them. They probably weren't at the forefront of your.
No, the ones that I have not seen a lot of them, is what I mean. But the ones that I know I saw, I didn't watch Bambi until I was a grown up, but I watched The Lion King. I've seen Dumbo as a kid. I watched Pinocchio as a kid. I think I did anyway. I at least read the book. Yeah.
Cinderella. We had Cinderella's tape.
I didn't watch it.
Did you not?
No. I didn't see it until I had time with your baby.
That's so
And then I was
weird.
like,
I remember
let's watch Disney movies.
that's so
Always
weird because I
wanted to-
remember it being very central to our growing up, Shooks and I. Anyway, I just remember Disney being so big in our lives, and I remember I always wanted to go to Disneyland, and that only got fulfilled when I was an adult. So,
Yeah.
only a couple of years ago actually. But I've
I
always
still
been like Disney crazy.
But I think this does go back to the immigrant experience thing, because I think when we were growing up, our parents were still trying to settle their feet, weren't they? So even for me, I was 19 when I went to Disneyland, and that was only because I went with school. It was school trip, sixth form, not school, sixth form, business studies. Believe it or not, it's a complete sham. Okay, the teachers just clearly wanted to go to Disneyland because they were all young as well. And
Yeah.
because we went to about 3 seminars, an hour each, in the 4 days we were in Disneyland. And yeah, I can't see why you would need to take a bunch of 18, 19-year-olds to Disneyland unless you are a chaperone and your, childhood wish to go to Disneyland and your partner doesn't want to take you or something. I don't know. But it was
Yeah.
fun. I time my life.
Yeah, mine was New York, which again makes no sense.
Yeah.
I want to go. Someone take me. Let's go, for goodness
Where?
sake.
Disneyland.
Anywhere. Like, I just want to go. I really want to meet Donald Duck, and I really want to meet Pluto. They're my top favorite.
We have a hen party to plan.
I did say this.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
let's do that. All right, shall we now get into it? We've gassed on
Yeah.
for a while now.
So the rabbit hole that I fell down was Cinderella. I wish I hadn't, on so many levels, because it's not as nice and happy as, I mean, I think there's still a happy ending in the original story, but the version that's the most well known, aside from the Disney version, is the Brothers Grimm version. And in that one, that is something that I have seen loads of times in a pantomime, but not in a film format. So for international listeners, what a pantomime is it's basically a stage performance around about Christmas time that is very over the top and elaborate. You occasionally have people in drag, and there's a lot of stuff that's done for comic effect, and there's loads of famous catchphrases that are used, like, oh no you didn't, oh yes you did. It's like loads and loads of fun, and a lot of people I think misinterpret it to be something that children like, but as an adult who has been to a pantomime, and I've been going throughout my life, I can assure you that it's something that's for every age really, and it's part of the UK Christmas experience. So that's what a pantomime is.
Oh, no, it isn't.
Oh yes it is.
Oh, no, it isn't.
Oh yes it is. And on that note, let's carry on. But basically, in that version, if you recall, there's like the father doesn't pass away. The father in some of these versions is very much present, and that's the same as the original story. So the father allows this misfortune to happen to his daughter. And I think that might be why Disney, they wrote him out, because they were like, how can she have positive feelings towards her father, who is complicit in all of this kind of act against her. So in the original version of the story, the Brothers Grimm version, that's the most popular one, the ball lasts 3 days, and instead of a magical godmother, Cinderella has a magical bird that grants the wishes. And it's when she visits a tree that basically was planted in memory of her mother. So the Cinderella outsmarts the prince on the first 2 nights of the ball. So the ball is a 3-night ball, not a 1-night ball like it is in the Disney version. And on the 3rd night, the prince tries to keep Cinderella from running away. And Cinderella leaves a golden shoe behind, not a glass slipper. And what the sisters do, so that everything else of the story remains the same. So when the people come around and they try the slippers on all the eligible maidens in the land, what the older sister does, because she can't fit her big toe into the slipper, she cuts it off.
Oh,
my God.
And the younger sister, she can't fit her foot into the shoe, so she cuts the heel off.
Oh my gosh.
her own heel, like not the heel of the shoe.
No, her heel. The heel of her foot off.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah. So it's quite disgusting. And obviously they still can't fit their foot in the shoe because Cinderella still ends up with the prince. But the comeuppance that the stepsisters have is quite horrendous as well, because birds fly down and peck their eyes out.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Why?
I don't know. That's the story.
Oh my God.
Okay, right. There is something weird about, the olden days and birds pecking things off people, because what is it? And pecked off her nose.
Yeah,
Yeah, sing a song of sixpence.
I mean, the most the bird has tried to peck anything out of me was my hair clip, which I've spoken about before. Like a crow tried to take my tiny little bulldog clip out of my hair twice.
I've had a bird sit on my head. Make that of whatever you like,
Oh gosh. Maybe they were a bit vicious in the olden
They
days.
still are.
Yeah, they are. And it's just the cruelty as well is quite significant. It's more graphically depicted, apparently, that's inflicted on Cinderella as she's growing up. And apparently her own father calls her deformed. And there's actually a lot of name calling more than physical oppression, if you like. But obviously the Disney's very sanitized version of it clears all that up. But yeah, it's not the kind of nice fairy tale that one would expect. I don't understand which child is going to go to sleep hearing that and not have nightmares. And there's a couple of other variations. Some people cite the original version to be being from Chinese origins, for example. There's various other interpretations of where the origins of the story is from. Some say that it's probably thousands of years old, but the most common forms of the story are what I've depicted. So on that lovely note, can we move on to the next
That
story?
would be mine then. So I am talking about The Little Mermaid today. Okay. Now we've all grown up watching this one. We've all grown up loving this one as well. So I'm not really going to go into the history. The synopsis of it, should I say? But what I will say is that the Disney version came out in 1989, and the original version was written by Hans Christian Andersen in 1837, and he was in Denmark. So Disney has, like I said, taken stories from different parts of the world. Like they'd said that there was a version of Cinderella from China, and now this one's from Denmark. And it's something that we grew up watching because for some reason we had an animated version of this story, which was, I don't know, at the time I didn't think it was that bad watching it, but now having read the story as a grown-up, I'm quite horrified by the whole thing. So in this one, the characters don't really have names. It's like she's the little mermaid, he's the prince, the witch is the witch. And basically, so now I'm just going to go with the Disney names so that you're able to follow what it is. So I'll call her Ariel, I'll call him Eric, and I'll call the witch Ursula. So basically what happens is that Ariel is the same kind of character. She's like this la-di-da princess with these sisters, and 5 sisters, I believe, in the original version. And she's still obsessed with life above the sea. There is no Sebastian, though, unfortunately. So there's no under the sea, under the sea. Under the sea. It's not that happy under there, unfortunately.
Oh,
I know.
I'm
There's all
great. I
kind
love
of
Sebastian.
yeah, we like Sebastian and that other. What was the fish called? The yellow fish.
Flounder?
flounder.
Flounder. Yeah, he was lovely. Always wanting to give him. He looks so squidgy and cute. Like I wanted to give him a cuddle. But anyway, moving on. So basically, what it was that Ariel was told that humans have a soul, and although they don't live as long as mer people, they don't live that long, but their soul lives eternally in heaven. And she was fascinated by that concept. Whereas mer people, I don't know if that's the politically correct name for them. Sorry if I'm offending any mer people, but the mer people, they lived longer, but then when they passed on, they would turn into sea foam. So, like the white kind of foam that comes up as the waves splash against rocks, that's essentially what mer people turn into. So, she wanted to be human and she was like obsessed with this thing. Anyway, it's the same kind of thing that happens now. She sees Prince Eric on a ship while he's celebrating his birthday. A storm happens, the ship gets wrecked, and she rescues him. While she's still a mermaid, she rescues him and she leaves him by this kind of like temple area. So she doesn't sing a song to him the way it's shown in the Disney version. She doesn't sing a song while he's unconscious. She just leaves him there. And these maidens who are in the temple like come out and they rescue him from there on. Like they take him away and whatever. So he falls in love with one of the women over there. He's not in love with her voice the way it is in the Disney version. But Ariel is in love with him. So she goes back into the ocean and she meets the witch, Ursula, the witch of the sea, and she has the most horrendous trade-off with the witch. Okay, so Ariel was known to have the most beautiful voice in under the sea, I guess. So
Yeah.
so she has the most beautiful voice. So Ursula wants her voice. That's the same. She takes the voice. It's not the voice though. Specifically, the translation is her tongue. So
Oh,
take that as you may. That might still mean her voice, but the translation says tongue. So it
Most
depends on.
beautiful tongue.
No, she has the most
No.
beautiful voice, but the trade-off isn't necessarily her voice box, it's her
Oh,
tongue. So she can't.
I was trying to think of what an aesthetically pleasing tongue was.
No.
She's got the most beautiful tongue under the sea.
It's really smooth and
Oh no. It's her voice. But the
oh, I
translation
understand.
says,
Like
yeah.
in Hindi, we would say zuban, and yeah, I get it, because yeah, interchangeable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
think it's about Urdu though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It is. But yeah, so I'm not really sure the translation, if it's a direct translation or if there's just like a cultural thing there or a language barrier there. But anyway, in exchange for her tongue or her voice, she gets legs, but the witch clearly says to her that although you'll be the most amazing dancer, like you'll be able to dance the way no human has, but you will always feel like you're walking on sharp knives. Okay, so there'll always be that constant pain of sharp knives when you walk, and you will always feel the pain of losing your tail. Like there will always be an excruciating pain of losing your tail. Like that's never going to go. So that was her trade-off, which I really don't think it's worth it, because if you can't use your feet to walk on comfortably, then why would you, like, how did she, anyway, whatever. You know what I mean. And also she has to swallow a potion to make this trade-off happen. And the witch again tells her that the pain of consuming this potion is going to be like a sword going down your throat and into your body.
Oh God.
So basically, Ariel drinks this potion because she really wants to meet the prince again. She drinks the potion, and the pain of it makes her pass out, and she ends up on the beach where the prince is like hanging about, and she's unconscious and she's not wearing anything. So he rescues her. So he's not necessarily attracted to her, he just kind of feels bad for her. So he rescues her and he's like, he looks after her and whatever. But at the same time, he's still in love with that woman that he met earlier, who he believes rescued him from like when he was washed up on the beach after the shipwreck. Okay. Also, Ariel can remain human so long as she has a man fall in love with her.
Well, geez, that's not happening, is it?
Well, yeah, exactly. So there's like a time limit on it, something like 3 days, I think.
Oh,
So,
gosh.
yeah,
Lord.
so she has to have a man fall in love with her, and then she can remain a human forever. Otherwise, she turns into sea foam. Okay. So obviously, like, the prince doesn't love her. He loves someone else, and she has more pride than to go and, like, obsessively go crazy after. Although this is pretty extreme anyway, to do this to yourself for a guy.
Yeah.
But still, she kind of isn't throwing herself at him. She kind of deals with it with a little bit of dignity. Anyway, long story short, the prince ends up marrying that same woman that he saw at the temple. He, like, falls in love with her. He's already in love with her. He marries her. And on the wedding night, Ariel, or the Little Mermaid, is about to turn into sea foam. Her sisters swim up to the place where she is. I'm assuming she's in a ship or by the shore or something. And they hand her a dagger and say that we've traded off our hair. Okay, so these sisters now don't have any hair. And they say we've traded off our hair for this dagger. And the trade-off with the witch is that if you put this, I mean, I don't want to say this gruesomely, but if you put this dagger through the prince's heart and have his blood drip onto your feet, then you can become a mermaid again, or you can live again, or you can live, essentially.
Right.
And this is the wedding night of the prince. So Ariel goes into his room and she's contemplating, and she sees him sleeping next to his now wife. And rather than to do this, she jumps off out of the window and turns into sea foam
Oh, wow.
and ends her life there. So yeah.
I remember this so distinctly from that VHS we had. And I remember her name being Marina.
Marina.
And I remember thinking, why the heck did she not take that trade off and go back to the sea after what her sisters had done? And it was quite depressing to watch. It was quite depressing. So it wasn't a fun watch. I don't know why we subjected ourselves to it.
Well, as a kid, I mean, I don't remember being, like, particularly affected by it, to be honest. So she's like, oh, she's a sea foam. Oh, right, okay. Because you've not developed those emotions yet, right, as a kid?
Yeah.
That what it means for your life to end. What does that mean? You don't realise that till way later in your life, right?
No, I just remember thinking her choices were pretty stupid, and that's about it. Like, I wasn't emotionally connecting.
Yeah, but even the Little Mermaid, the Disney version, her choices are questionable, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
So she's not the brightest spark as our Ariel.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, that was Disney story number 2 done.
Now, Disney story number 3. This is Pinocchio. So I'll summarise the friendly kiddie version because I feel like not a lot of people know this one properly or haven't actually watched it. So, I mean, at least if you haven't watched it, you'll know that it's about a wooden puppet who was carved by Geppetto, and Pinocchio was brought to life by a blue fairy. And with the help of this blue fairy and his conscience, Jiminy Cricket, who is literally a cricket, learns the importance of truth and learns to be a responsible real boy. Because if he is a good boy, basically, he'll be turned into a real boy. And also because if he lies, his nose grows longer. Literally like a stick. It just like keeps growing out. And he faces a lot of temptations, and there's misadventures where he runs into some bad guys, some naughty kids, and there are some very unfortunate incidents. But ultimately, he reunites with his father after they both get swallowed up by a whale called Monstro. And because of his bravery and love for his father, he earns his wish from the Blue Fairy to become a real boy as a human. So not a wooden puppet anymore. Okay. Now, the original Pinocchio is a very naughty wooden puppet. Okay. So, Geppetto's basically a poor toy maker, and he carves, toys anyway. So he creates Pinocchio in the same way, but instead of being quite obedient, which he was before his first day of school in the Disney version, Pinocchio quickly becomes mischievous and disobedient, which leads to Geppetto himself being imprisoned by the police because they believed that he was mistreating Pinocchio. Pinocchio also kicks Geppetto at one point as well. So he's very naughty. Yeah, he kicks his own dad. Okay. And Pinocchio then also goes on to end the life of Jiminy Cricket for wanting him to be too good with a hammer.
No, he did not.
He did.
Oh, not
Unfortunately, I
Jiminy.
knew this.
It's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful because Jiminy Cricket's literally like the best thing about Pinocchio when you watch the Disney version.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's just, yeah, it's awful. Yeah, with a hammer. Yeah.
He squishes him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay.
So Pinocchio then gets taken in by a deceitful fox and cat who schemed to steal the 5 gold pieces that had been given to him. And Pinocchio still, he gets repeatedly conned by the fox and the cat. And after a brief rescue by the Blue Fairy, and this rescue is relating to the fox and the cat trying to end Pinocchio's life by hanging him up on a tree and just leaving him there. So the Blue Fairy, comes and rescues him and everything, and all that kind of happens. But he continues to ignore warnings, and he ends up getting lured into the land of toys, where he gets turned into a donkey, right? He's then sold by the ringmaster of the land of toys to a man who wants to use his hide to make a drum. And this man tries to drown Donkey Pinocchio, but he gets swallowed up by a whale where he finds Geppetto inside. And they end up escaping through the whale's mouth and find refuge with the ghost of Jiminy Cricket. And then Pinocchio goes on to work hard and sells everything he has and cares for the fairy, who then ends up transforming him into a real boy. But this last little section was actually revised slightly because the original was, well, too gruesome, I guess. But as well as kicking Geppetto and ending the life of Jiminy Cricket with a hammer, he also has his feet burned off and also gets transformed into a donkey. But the whole thing about the fox and the cat before it was revised is that he doesn't get rescued by the Blue Fairy. The fox and the cat do end up ending his life.
Oh my god.
And that was the harsh ending that then ended up getting revised a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. He just, a brief rescue and he was on his way to a better life. But yeah.
See, Pinocchio for me was anyway like quite a dark. I think that's why people haven't seen it that much, because it isn't your happy Disney movie start to finish. It does have some
Yeah.
dark themes, doesn't it? Like the whole
Yeah.
Fantasia Island, Fantasy Island
Yeah.
thing that's there. And when they do get, I mean, even in the Disney version, they get turned into donkeys, and it's quite scary. And the whole whale thing, being swallowed by a whale, that's quite scary. So I think that's why Pinocchio maybe isn't as popular as the other ones.
Yeah.
Although it does have a lot of
Morals. Yeah.
moral, yeah,
For
it's like
sure.
there's a moral to the story for sure. Whereas like the Little Mermaid, there's not really any moral. It's like, yeah, behave ridiculous, and then you'll get a prince.
Yeah.
No moral to the story, right? It's just,
Yeah.
and even with Cinderella, it's like, yeah, just get treated like dirt.
Mm.
Don't, talk back, don't clap back. I mean, to your stepmothers or your evil sisters or whatever, and you'll end up with a prince.
She doesn't really have a backbone, which is what I personally don't like about Cinderella that much. But it's really funny because my daughter is the younger child and she's 5 years old, and Moana scares the bejesus out of her. So we're not trying Pinocchio yet, because I've got a feeling she's not going to take too well to Pinocchio. Frozen freaks her out. Lion King, I think she started crying.
Lion King does give you the emotions. Bambi as well. Oh gosh, Bambi makes, I mean, if you've not cried during Bambi, you're heartless.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not doing that yet. I'm gonna ease both my children into that. I think if I can handle watching it, that is. I've not revisited Bambi.
But I just wanted to add to the bits in Pinocchio when we're talking about morals and stuff, because it talks about, lying and how that's a really bad thing to do, but also stranger danger, which is a massive thing, because Pinocchio is like on his way to school and he just like very easily gets distracted by all the temptations around him and then continues to. He has a bad experience that day and then he just continues to carry on doing that. And then the whole donkey thing, like he manages to get away, but all the other kids that had also been taken there turned into donkeys, they don't. They remain there even in the Disney version.
Yeah.
So that's really,
So I can imagine it being darker than it was. Like the Disney version was pretty dark. For the original story to be darker than that it's quite a lot. And I only came across the original version like much later. And just, like you, I felt like Jiminy Cricket, poor thing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't believe this. I've just realised Shreeya, you've just done Pinocchio, and I just got your Pinocchio keyring from Italy.
Oh my god, you did!
It's a souvenir.
Oh my god, you did! She did give me Pinocchio keyring. Oh yeah, I love it.
Okay, next.
So, the next one I was going to cover off is Frozen. Now, I didn't know anything about the origin stories of Frozen at all because it's not a book that I've read ever. So, the story, the Disney version, is an adaptation from Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tale called The Snow Queen. And Snow Queen is Elsa, basically. However, in the book, there's not much known about the Snow Queen. There's no backstory, and she certainly doesn't have a sister. So it's just been massively reworked. And I think the Disney's original intention was to make Elsa a bad character or an evil character. But I think it was the Let It Go song that changed it and said, no, an evil person can't sing that song. And then they changed it into a very sisterly, loving kind of, very sweet film, I thought. I think Frozen's really sweet. Like the intentions behind the characters, they are very, I know like Anna's very ditzy, but her intentions are in the right place. She cares for her sister and Elsa also cares for her sister. They care for each other very deeply. And I think it's lovely. It's one of the more, I think, nuanced and like very well made films, I would say. And the characters aren't pushovers or like the other Disney princesses. They're not so one dimensional, which I really like about it. But the characters are completely different in the original Frozen.
Oh.
So yeah, there's no like I said, there's no sister for sure.
Oh.
But the Snow Queen has a demonic mirror in this version, in the original Hans Christian Andersen version. So we'll call her the Snow Queen. When I say Snow Queen, let's think Elsa because there isn't an equivalent for Anna in this story specifically. So when I say Snow Queen, it's Elsa. So she has a demonic mirror that distorts everything around it, and it shows only the ugly and like evil aspects of a person. And that mirror shatters and tiny splinters scatter across the earth and they lodge in people's eyes and hearts. Yeah.
Oh man.
So the main protagonist of one of the main people in the original version is a boy called Kai, and he gets a splinter in his eye and heart, and that causes him to become really cold and cruel, and he ends up following the Snow Queen to her palace. So he's like almost being abducted. And Kai's got a friend called Gerda, who I think is a romantic interest. That's the indication I get. Again, you can read between the lines. It could be a platonic relationship, but it's a girl. And she embarks on a difficult, like, quest to try and get him, and finds, like, loads of magical obstacles and things that she's got to navigate to try and get to Kai. So the sister thing's definitely not there. The, like, quest to go and get someone is still there.
Yeah.
And there's, well, the movie has like things like, magical snowman. The original story had trolls.
Okay.
It had people who were being made evil because of this frozen heart thing. And it had the splinters to the eyes. And I don't know why there's so much attention to the eyes, because that's what freaks me out. But this is like what? The second story that I'm going through where someone's eyes get plucked out or like get pierced in some way.
Yeah.
So it's not as gruesome as some of the other ones that we've gone through, but I didn't know this origin story of the Ice Queen. In the end, it's a happy ending, but it's not the characters. And the fact that it's a boy and he's like being possessed almost and being captured by the Ice Queen. And that his mate is trying to save him, but there's no kind of like sisterly bond. There's nothing positive at all about the Ice Queen either. She's pretty demonic and nasty, but she gets vanquished.
I do have to say that Hans Christian Andersen's themes in his stories are quite, they're quite brutal, aren't they? Because I mean, don't forget, guys, he's the same guy who wrote the original Little Mermaid as well. And like he seems to have a problem with, witches. Did he see one as a child?
Maybe.
He seems to have like evil ladies. The main villain is female in both the stories that we have, which I guess is good for, like, female
Representation.
characters. Yeah, representation of female characters. That's
Yeah.
great. But, like, I don't know, maybe it's like a cultural thing that maybe they believe in witches quite a lot in that part. I mean, he was from Denmark.
I do think they do, because they say that Hans Christian Andersen apparently amalgamated a lot of different tales from Scandinavian folklore and built his stories. So it could well be that. Like, it's very hard to trace the origins prior to Hans Christian Andersen, prior to his version of the Snow Queen. But they say that there was like slight adaptations made from other folklore that had that people have come across previously. Yeah, it's very interesting. But then, I didn't know this, but Frozen's got a massive LGBTQ plus fan base as well.
Oh, yeah,
because yeah, I didn't know about that. And I also didn't know that a lot of people have interpreted Frozen to be a film about mental illness as well.
So?
Oh, I didn't
So
know
they
that.
say that it's basically to do with people with, I don't know, but they were saying it's got to do with the familial bond and the like having that presence of somebody for your emotional well-being. Like, there was a massive dependency of Anna towards Elsa, even though she'd been absent for the majority of her life in the Disney adaptation, is what I mean. So it's quite, they added more layers and more depth to the original story, I think, which is a good thing. I think that's what we should be doing when we're adapting something rather than taking it as is, because I can imagine them adapting the Snow Queen. It does have very Disney feel to it, but then you don't get that kind of sisterly bond. You don't have very well etched characters. Like, no one knows about the Snow Queen apart from she's evil, but no one knows why, what's driving that evil, what's motivating her to be like that. She's just not a very nice lady.
I'm quite surprised with Frozen generally, because I would have thought it's an original story with it being one of the new ones.
Yeah, I think it's ended up being quite original because it deviates so much from its origins. I mean, apart from the ice and the fact that people turn to ice, there isn't any exploration around the evil, because it's not like people become demonic. There's no mirror, there's no glass that shatters. So I would say, although the makers probably set about to try and make the Snow Queen adaptation, I think they just ended up making it a completely original story, which is so removed from the source material that it's a whole new thing, I think.
Right, okay. So the next one on the list is for me, and that's Sleeping Beauty. Okay. So, I mean, this anyway was a little weird. Like, the Disney version generally is a little strange.
Yeah.
But the original one is just horrendous. Okay. The Disney version came out in 1959. Okay, so there's multiple original ones. There's not just one original one, which is quite weird. So the one that I'm going to talk about is a French, I think it was a poem or maybe it was a story. I'm not really sure. It's not clear.
Oh, Sandam Lamsa Merci. Wait, I'm not saying that right.
This one is from 1340, but I think there's a bracket as well. It's not specifically 1340. I think it's 1340 to a different, like 1344 or something. So we're going way back. So I don't know how accurate this information actually is that I have, but this is one of the stories that has inspired Sleeping Beauty. And then I think this one has then inspired another story, then another story, then another story, and another story, and then finally Sleeping Beauty was made. So maybe this is not what Disney picked up, but it's quite similar. So it's a French story. I'm gonna totally pronounce everything wrong. So it says the title of it's Percy Forest, if I'm gonna say it in an English accent. But if I was gonna say French, kind of in a French kind of thing, it might be Percy Forêt, because the EST at the end might be because that's how you would say it, right?
Yeah. I don't know what's the Percy mean?
I don't know. It could be Purse Forêt. I don't know. I don't know how to say it, so I'm just not going to say it anymore.
I'm just trying to go back to GCSE French and trying to figure out what these words could possibly mean.
Apparently that word means pine forest. So that's what it means. So there we go then. I don't know how to say the first part of it or the second part of it. But anyway, Pine Forest in French is the title of the story. Anyway, so it's about a little baby girl who's born into a royal family, And so it's a similar kind of concept to the Disney version. And they invite these 3 witches to, I don't know, the dinner or something. I don't know exactly what the ceremony is. In Disney, it's the christening, I believe. This is just a regular ceremony, I guess, or just a dinner. So these 3 witches come, and one of them gets really annoyed that her knife isn't as pretty as the other 2 witches. It's as petty as that. Okay, it's as petty as that. She gets really offended, and she curses this little baby that whenever she touches a piece of flax, that's going to put her into a sleepy state. Okay, not sleepy state, sorry, that's going to end her life. But the other kind of wishes that the other witches give her are all positive, like good health and whatever. So it counters the bad witch's spell. So when she does ultimately touch this piece of flax, which I'm assuming is when she's a bit older, and she's then put into a sleepy state, her life doesn't end there. So she falls asleep, and she falls asleep in the nude. Okay.
Right.
So she's asleep on this, like lovely bed and whatever. And she's there for many, many years. And then finally this prince comes, and he's flown into her window by a bird. Okay.
What?
Yeah. So he sits on this bird and he flies into the window. So it's not those ladders or nothing like that, like in Rapunzel, the hair. It's not like that. He flies on a bird into her room, and he tries to wake her up. She doesn't wake up. He's trying to rescue her. But then ultimately, like, he has like this, good angel, bad angel on his shoulder. And the bad angel basically says, she's right there. Why don't you just do what you got to do? Right?
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, so essentially she's R-worded by this
Oh,
prince
no.
who is in love with her, but that doesn't make it okay, right? So she's R-worded by him, and he leaves. He like swaps rings with her to kind of show that like a promise has been given or a marriage has been engagement or something to try and justify it. And he feels badly about it. He knows he's done something wrong because they've said it quite clearly that it's like the kind of bad side of him that's decided to do this. But anyway, he goes away from there. Then she, in her sleep, 9 months later, delivers a little baby boy.
No. Oh, dear.
Yeah. And the baby's hungry, and he wants milk. And he accidentally basically sucks on her finger and pulls that piece of flax out, and she regains consciousness. So that's
Wow.
so it was as simple as that. The flax just had to come out of her finger. So now she's woken up, and ultimately she's reunited with the prince, and they get married. But she never forgives the prince for what he did. So she always feels betrayed forever. So it's not a happily ever after. They're happy on some level in their marriage, in their little family, but she never forgives him for R-wording her. So that is there.
Yeah.
But
And the
it's
prince doesn't
horrendous.
save her.
Yeah, like he doesn't try and help her or anything. He just does that and goes. He doesn't think that, oh, I've came here to help her, or I flew here on a bird and found her and she needs help, and that's what I was trying to do, and there's no one else around to help her. Let me stick around since I've at least traumatized her body, if nothing else, after what he's done, even though she's not awake and whatever and doesn't know at that time what's happened to her. He doesn't stick around to help her and make sure that she can one day be okay. He buggers off.
So there's 2 different versions of this same story that I found. And one is this, that he goes away and then they're reunited somehow afterwards. And there's another version where her father sends him on a quest to show that he's worthy for the princess.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
why he goes away. So I'm not really sure which one, because it's so old, like 30, 40. I don't know which one's the original one, which one's the adaptation, what is, like you were saying in the last episode, when stories are told again and again and again, they kind of distort with each version. So I'm not sure which one is the original one, but no matter how you look at it, it's repulsive.
Yeah.
This prince is repulsive, and you can't romanticize this, and that's why I'm really happy that she continues to feel betrayed. She does marry him. They are happy families, they're in love with each other and whatever, but she feels betrayed forever for him because of what he did to her in her unconscious state. So it is quite horrendous. Having said that, I'm not a big fan of the Disney version either. I just think it's a bit blah, really. It's not one that I've really bonded with or anything. It's not even Maleficent, I'm not a fan of the film, I have to say. I think it's really well made, and makeup's amazing and all of that, but it wasn't one. It's just not for me, I think. It's not one that I would watch again. I've seen it once in the cinema and I've not seen it again. So Sleeping Beauty or any version of Sleeping Beauty is not necessarily one of my favourites. But anyway.
But I like Maleficent, but not because of the Sleeping Beauty part of it, because of Maleficent's story and what happens to her. Because I find that really interesting on its own. I'm with you on the whole Sleeping Beauty part. It's not something I'm really into either.
Not really that into.
Which leads on to mine, which is Rapunzel. I really like this one. I like the movie Tangled as well that Disney did. It's one of my favourites. It's like a really good feel-good movie. But yeah, I'll just summarise it for anyone who's not familiar with Rapunzel. I think everyone kind of gets the gist that it is about a girl with long hair called Rapunzel, and she's got crazy, crazy long hair, and she gets locked in a tower by a witch called Mother Gothel, who then uses her hair to climb up the tower. And then one day Rapunzel is singing, and a prince passes by, follows her voice, finds her, and then the whole Rapunzel, let down your hair thing happens. And they meet again and again, and they fall in love. And then the witch finds out and gets really angry about it, cuts off her hair, exiles her. Then the Rapunzel and the prince meet again, and they live happily ever after, is the general gist of it. So the real story is actually based off of one true story, and then lots of other stories from around the world actually mixed together. So there's one which is the true story, allegedly, from Saint Barbara in Italy around the 3rd century. And it's about a girl who had really beautiful hair, and it was so beautiful that her father felt that he needed to lock her away in a tower and protect her beauty from the outside world. But then while imprisoned, Barbara converted to Christianity, and with her father being pagan, this angered him, and because of the religious defiance and refusal to marry a pagan suitor, she was sent to trial, and later off with her head happened. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh my gosh. But
yeah,
while she was in prison, how did she discover Christianity?
it was when she was imprisoned in the tower.
Right.
I don't know how she came about the whole thing. I don't know if there were others with her, which I don't think there would have been, because she was being prevented from exposure of the outside world. So I don't know if she was reading. Like, Rapunzel in Tangled really likes to read. I mean, she hasn't much else to do. So I don't know if she was exposed to some kind of literature.
But then I
of
wonder
sort.
why her dad would send her Christianity related books if he's
Yeah,
hardcore
no,
pagan. It's quite confusing.
it is really confusing. I don't know the answer to it, I'll be honest. I don't know the answer, but that is what happened. Yeah, that's what he did. Now, there's also a version where during her execution, a divine fog prevents her from feeling any pain, and straight after, a lightning strike ends the life of her father.
Oh.
Instant karma.
Instant karma, literally.
That sounds like a revised version, because what are the odds of that?
Yeah, exactly. It is. It's just a version of that. So there's also a tale from a Persian story, which is about two lovers called Rudabel and Zal. And it's a story, I don't know if it's called Shahnameh or Shahnameh, but it's from 1000 CE. And the woman, Rudabel, she's got really long hair, and she uses her hair to help her lover climb up her tower. So that's obviously just like Rapunzel. There's also another tale about a woman in a tower who let down her hair to receive food and supplies from townspeople. And then there's also a European fairy tale, and I'm going to absolutely butcher the way that you're supposed to say this, but it's called Basile's Petronella and Mademoiselle de la Force's Personette. But it has a theme of a pregnant woman craving something from her neighbour's garden, and then a child being taken away by an ogress.
Oh wow.
Lovely.
Ogress, yeah. So that's interesting.
It's like a Shrek crossover.
It's a Shrek crossover. Shrek, yeah, DreamWorks and Disney. Little crossover. And then there's also a German story fairy tale, and that's what was recorded by Brothers Grimm in 1812, which uses the same themes of isolation, defiance, long hair, and the narrative of a young girl being locked in a tower by a witch. Now, their version was given out in 1812 about a couple who wanted to have a child, and the husband steals Rapunzel, which is a type of lettuce, from a witch's garden, and that witch is Dame Gothel.
Wait, Rapunzel is a type of lettuce?
Yes.
The word Rapunzel means a type of lettuce.
Apparently, yeah.
Like iceberg.
Like iceberg.
This is the version that I've heard.
Yeah, so they take the lettuce, and she then says to them that because you stole the lettuce from my garden, then I'll have your firstborn child. And sure enough, when Rapunzel, the baby, is born, Gothel then takes the baby and locks her in a tower, and then it's the same thing again where there's the secret affair between the prince and Rapunzel, and then the witch finds out, cuts off her hair, exiles her, and the prince ends up getting thorns in his eyes, and he's kind of lost in the forest and everything, and not able to see. But then Rapunzel finds him after being exiled, and he's so happy at finding her again that his tears cure him, and they live happily ever and return to his kingdom.
It's like what they say, isn't it? Like a good hearty cry just cures everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what happened.
I really want to know what these like old time writers, what their issue was with people's eyes.
I know. It's
Yeah, what is it? I don't know.
It's quite grotesque the way they don't want any seeing people on
Yes.
Earth. Like,
And they're very aptly named Brothers Grimm because they are Grimm.
Yeah.
So both of you have mentioned Brothers Grimm. Now there was a version of Sleeping Beauty that Brothers Grimm have also done. So these guys are regulars of Disney kind of adaptations. Brothers Grimm and Hans Christian Andersen, these two, lots of writers. Like they are the ones I think the most popular with Disney by the looks of it. At least by this small little test that we've just done of 6 Disney stories. So yeah.
Out of all of these, which one has shocked you guys the most? Because for me, I think it's The Little Mermaid is probably the worst one.
That didn't shock me because I already knew about it. The one that shocked me the most was Rapunzel being unheaded. Whatever that I don't know how else to say it in a polite way, but I didn't realise that happened to her head.
Even for me, Sleeping Beauty being R-worded.
Yeah.
That was pretty horrendous for me. But yeah, I think The Little Mermaid has... And Pinocchio.
Pinocchio too, yeah.
Pinocchio was a bad little boy. I didn't realise that. All I thought Pinocchio... I mean, Pinocchio in the Disney version as well did have his grey side. But it was kind of... It was taken care of. So he looked good at the end. But this original Pinocchio was just up to no good all the way through, wasn't he?
Kicked his dad and everything.
I know, kicking Geppetto. What was he thinking?
No,
and Jiminy Cricket. That's just like...
yeah.
Poor Jiminy. But yeah, no, they have all had a bit of, you know, shock factor, I think, for me. But yeah, The Little Mermaid, I do agree, The Little Mermaid's quite awful. There's nothing about that one where it's even a glimpse of happiness for her. She just is. It's horrible.
Should have stayed under the sea.
Yeah.
But even then, under the sea, she was obsessed with this thought, you know, so even that isn't a good thought. Like,
she just was never happy.
She was never happy, yeah. Bless her, she's only about 15 or 16 or something, like really young. So, yeah. Anyway, so on that note, shall we wrap this one up? We had one that was supposed to be light-hearted, but turned...
Grim.
Turned the brothers grim.
Turned the sisters grim.
So, yeah, pretty... shock to the system a little bit, that one. We were just supposed to be talking Disney and thinking happy thoughts, but no.
We went dark Disney instead.
Yeah. Disney turned dark quite quickly. Anyway, on that note, let's sign off here. Please kindly like, comment, subscribe, and share.
And hashtag Natterback.
Yep. Let us know any topics that you'd like us to cover or natter about, or do you just want us to talk about what kind of coffee we had every day? Or what kind of tea we had, or what kind of cravings we have. Oh, that could be a good one. Weird cravings. We should do that next.
Hey, I was off my pregnancy episode.
That wasn't weird though. Jackie potato and cottage cheese is quite regular, I think.
Please comment if you have any weird cravings as well.
Yes.
I'd love to hear.
Alrighty then.
Bye.
Bye.
Over and out.